What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all so much for joining us here at Chad's Media for another Sulphur Springs basketball recap. I'm Tyler Lennon. Got my partner Grayson McClure here. Grayson, we're watching the Wildcats. They just beat Pine Tree by a final score of 82-47.
Correct. Yeah.
Huge game. What are your first thoughts and impressions?
Well, big win. I mean, we needed a win like that. To get our momentum going again, especially when we're getting into a tough part of the district where we're about to go to Hallsville and then play Mount Longview and then Mount Pleasant, and those are three tough games that we struggled against. You know, we only won one of those games and lost two of those, and
right.
At this point, every district game matters, and we'll get into that in a little bit, I believe. But yeah, it was a huge win. Everybody played great. We had 5 guys in double digits, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Right. And I mean, they came out the gate really, really hot. Coach Shaver always talks about, starting the first 3 minutes of the game super hot, and they got out to an 18-2 lead. Now, after that, they did start turning the ball over a little bit, and before you know it, it was an 8 or 10, 12-point game, something like that. But I thought they recovered from that pretty well. Yeah.
Again, the turnover issue was a big issue, and with a 30-plus point win, it's hard to point out negatives.
Right.
But and there's only a couple, and the big one was the turnover issue, especially in the first half. Way too many turnovers, and Sulphur Springs has struggled with that all year. Our assist-to-turnover ratio is 0.82 heading into tonight's game. It's probably even worse now.
Yeah, it very well could be.
And that's got to change. We gotta fix that, especially before playoffs.
Now, they definitely did going into the second half. Again, it's the first 3 minutes of the game, first 3 minutes of the second half, and they set the tone. And, I mean, they completely dominated the entire second half. And like you said, they did cut down on the turnovers, and they were still forcing turnovers. I mean, again, they just dominated the entire second half.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to start running through some of the players?
Yeah.
It's hard, like you said, in a game where they had 5 players that finished in double digits, but we'll start with the man who led the team in points and rebounds. Mr. Double-Double himself, Justin Hare, 15 points, 11 boards. He also had 4 blocks. I mean, just an all-around great game from Justin.
Yeah, and with Justin, I'm never too concerned about how much he's scoring. I don't think that's his strong suit. I know he leads the team in scoring, but his strong suit is rebounding and his help defense, not necessarily blocking shots.
Right.
But his awareness on defense, being able to communicate, being at the right spot. He's
always in the right place and helping others get into the right place.
And he's such a threat to people who are driving to the rim. And the first half, they were getting to the rim easily. That second half, we saw that they were struggling getting to the rim, and that's because Justin became more aware and the team started communicating, and he was so good at leading, and he has been all season. And you can see the desire to win in him when you watch him play.
I mean, he looks like someone who's a senior, a team leader. You know what I mean? Moving on, we had Cordrick Turner and Caleb Alexander. They each had 14 points. They each had amazing games. Let's start with Cordrick. 14 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. You and I talk about Cordrick a lot. We love the way he plays. We love him as a player. Tonight, it feels like we've said this multiple times, but this may have been the best he's looked all year. Every time he had the ball in the paint, it felt like he was either going to score or he was going to get it to somebody who did.
Yeah, and you mentioned, this may have been, we may have said multiple times this is the best he's looked all year. I think that's a testament to how much he's improved day in and day out. I mean, he has gotten better each and every game. At the beginning of the season, he was very quick when he got the ball, but now he's been patient when he gets the ball in the post. And then he's being aware of his surroundings. His passing ability has increased tremendously. He's being able to find cutters. I mean, the passes that he's making are
he's making
incredible.
He's a phenomenal passer, especially in the paint, especially with his back to the basket, hitting people, on backdoor cuts. I mean, he's been incredible.
Yeah, and his help side defense awareness has gotten even better, and he's seen improvements there. And he's doing better at slowing it down and then reading what the defense is giving him. If there's a one-on-one, he knows what he's about to do.
Right.
If there's a one-on-one against Cordrick Turner, the ball's going in the basket more than likely. He's almost unguardable. He's probably the most – no, it's not even probably. He is the most dominant big in the district.
Yep.
And probably one of the most dominant bigs in the state of Texas.
I agree. I mean, like you said, when he has the ball, especially in a one-on-one, I mean, it's going in. And when you start to double, he always makes the right pass. I mean, you can't go wrong having the ball in his hands. Like we mentioned, Caleb Alexander also had 14 points. He was 4 of 7 from 3-point tonight. A great game from Caleb.
Yeah, for sure. And he was 4 of 7. The team was 9 of 14 from 3, which is phenomenal.
Well,
Caleb
over 50%.
Alexander, 14 points, 4 of 7. The other negative from tonight's game that we mentioned it last recap and we mentioned it through the broadcast, Caleb Alexander needs to have more plays ran to him.
Absolutely.
I think we both agree on that. He's shooting, coming into this game, he's shooting above 45%, which is absolutely ridiculous. At the volume that he's shooting, to shoot that, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Keyston could not do that. And he's being able to do that. And it's going to go up tonight. These last few games, he keeps shooting above 50%. He has been phenomenal from beyond 3-point range, and he's not getting any plays ran to him.
He's having to create a lot of those shots himself and create opportunities for others. I agree. I think he and Branson Lynn are out there a lot together. I would like to see Branson. He's a great facilitator. He always controls the tempo of the game. I think it doesn't have to be set in stone that only Branson or only Caleb, but I think you could run more of a mixture of sometimes Branson's the one running the offense, you're getting plays for Caleb, and vice versa.
Right, and it does kind of frustrate me as a former shooter to see that there are no plays being ran to Caleb.
Right.
I think it's a waste if we're not running plays to Caleb Alexander. He's too good of a shooter. He's too confident. Shooter. He's been too hot all season not to be running double screens. For him to be coming off these back screens and getting open in the corner, like he's having to create everything, and that's very difficult as a shooter. And I would assume that he's wanting plays ran to him because I know what it's like to be a shooter. But he's still doing his job. He's still helping his team win, and he's still finding ways, even though plays aren't being ran to him. But I do think we need to make that adjustment for sure.
Absolutely. You talk about guys in double digits. Parker Wisenhunt and Branson Lynn, they each had 12 points. Parker, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He made the only 3 he took tonight. It was a great game from him as well. He had, we talk about him as kind of the dunk king of this team, and he had maybe the craziest dunk we've seen all year from him.
Yeah, and he had a couple that were at that level, but there was one specifically that in traffic throws it down hard. You could tell he loves dunking.
Oh, for sure.
He loves dunking. I know the team does. The crowd does. It's good for the crowd. It's good for the team. A big thing I like about him tonight is he had 6 rebounds, which is crazy considering Justin Hare seemed like he made it a mission that every board.
Right.
That
I wouldn't have thought there were 6 rebounds to get.
Right. Every ball that wasn't going in the basket, Justin Hare was basically saying, that's going to be mine.
Right.
And Parker Wisenhunt still came away with 6 of them. And that's just a testament to how hard he plays at all times. He gives full effort. Defensively, he looked incredible, and that's why he gets those 12 points. That's why he gets those 10 points a game, is because his defense has been so good and it leading to transition.
Absolutely. We talked about Branson Lynn. He also had 12 points. He had 2 boards, 2 assists. He was 2 of 3 from 3 and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Incredible shooting game. You and I have talked about a little bit in the past, with as many things as this team does well, free throw shooting unfortunately hasn't been one of them. So you love to see games like tonight where Branson gets to the line more than anybody. He makes all of his free throws. The team, I think, shot 9 of 12 as a team. You love to see these kind of things.
Yeah, for sure. And Branson's one of those guys where if he's going to the line, it seems like it could be a relief for Coach Shaver.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all are believing that Branson's going to make the free throws.
Further to that point, there was a point tonight. It was when Pine Tree was on a big run. Branson shoots a 3, misses, but he gets fouled. He goes to the line. Your team gets like a whole minute break, and he makes all 3 of those free throws. That's huge to stop the other team's momentum and to give your team momentum. You're seeing the shots go in. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And he's shooting above 80% from the free throw line. He has been struggling all season from the 3-point line. Now, granted, he's been finding ways to help his team. He has shown that going into the season, I thought Branson was just going to be the shooter. But he has proved me completely wrong. I think it's been a huge blessing in disguise that he did struggle for a little bit, because he's become, and maybe he already was, but we, I think, have seen him be such a more well-rounded player.
Man.
He's one of the most well-rounded players in the district.
It seems he gets to the paint and gets to the rim at ease.
And whether that's him finishing or, drawing a double and kicking it out to somebody else. He always creates points either for himself or for somebody else.
And, we talk about the reason why we love him facilitating is because he's so good at reading how to control a pace. He knows when to slow it down. He knows when to catch it, hold it for a second.
Right.
He knows when to catch it and rip and make it quick. He knows when to pass it up court quick. He's so good at controlling the pace. He's so good at reading defenses that, man, it's so impressive. He's only a junior.
Absolutely.
He's only a junior. This is only his first year on varsity, which is crazy.
We had Kaysen Arrington and Colt Theophilides. They each had 5 points tonight. Another all-around great game from Kaysen. Unfortunately, it doesn't stand out to you in the stat sheet, but he had a great game.
Yeah, the stat sheet doesn't do him justice.
Right.
At all. And the big thing, we always praise Kaysen. He's one of my favorite players on this team, and I don't think that he gets the credit that he deserves.
I agree. I mean, he always I think he plays such a huge role on this team that unfortunately you might not notice just looking at the stats. Right. I mean, if you were to go to Max Preps, and start looking at the stats, he wouldn't stand out to you. But as someone who's there for every game, we cover every game. I mean, we think of him as one of the bigger parts of the team. Yeah,
for sure. And the big problem is I don't think he gives himself the credit he deserves.
I agree.
I think his confidence level is not that high. And I hope he's listening to this because I want him to know that I see his value. I know you see his value. Coach Shaver obviously sees his value. He starts every game. He plays a lot.
Right.
His value to this team is so high. He's a player every coach needs to have.
Absolutely.
He's such a glue guy. He's what Boo Wilkerson was for us the year we went to state.
As we've mentioned multiple times, he's kind of the only guy who can guard, a wing, a forward, a big. Whatever you need him to do, he can do it, and he does it well.
Right. And, I see him, he hangs his head down when he misses some shots, but I just wish he had some confidence in himself because once he starts building that confidence, once you start building that confidence, his game will elevate to another level. He'll start. His defense is going to get better. His intensity level is going to get better. His rebounding ability is going to get better. So I want people to realize how valuable he is to this program.
Oh, I agree. I'm right there with you. Another guy that I think of kind of in the same light, Malachi Miles. He had 4 points, 3 assists tonight. It feels like you and I, if anyone's ever watched any of our broadcasts or any of our recaps, y'all know how much we love watching Malachi Miles play basketball. Tonight was another night like that. He comes in, like I said, 4 points, 3 assists. It was a great game.
Yeah, we need to start calling Malachi the cool guy.
Oh, absolutely.
He goes in there, doesn't show any emotion.
I've never seen his facial expression change ever.
Doesn't get mad, doesn't get happy. Nope. He causes so many turnovers. Mm-hmm. It's insane because his defense, he's not afraid to guard anybody. He's so unintimidated by his height. Mm-hmm. Where usually he
always goes in, and gets offensive rebounds, which, if you're watching this, offensive rebounds he's so tough to get.
Yeah.
And to be the smallest guy on the floor, that's literally just instinct, putting yourself in the spot,
It's incredible. He's one of my favorite players to watch, and for him to be the 7th man of this roster,
No, I agree with you, man. Looking up at the upcoming schedule, it's tough. We're back to the stretch. We mentioned they had a rough stretch, Hallsville, Longview, Mount Pleasant. You're back to that stretch. You have 4 games left. That's 3 of them. What do they have to do here to get back to win district or to put themselves in a good position?
They got to take it one day at a time. Go into practice, ready to watch film, and tune in on those mistakes we made against, teams like Hallsville and Longview, even though it was a win against Longview.
Right.
We definitely could have played better. Mount Pleasant, we gave up a big lead. Mm-hmm. We definitely, in Hallsville, we gave up way too many open threes to a team that can shoot the rock. Right. So there's a lot of mistakes that we can tune in on, and that's what we got to focus on. But just take it. Don't worry about Longview. Worry about Hallsville right now.
Right. Worry about Hallsville right now. And then you can't start worrying about Mount Pleasant until you've already played Longview. Right. I agree. You definitely still have a chance to win this district, though, and I think that would be huge. Before we get out of here, anything else you want to touch on?
These games, they're just must-win games.
I agree.
They got to come in prepared. If they can win out, it makes that playoff run a lot easier.
Absolutely. Y'all stay tuned here with us on Chad's Media. We only do the home game, so we will be back on Tuesday, February 8th. That'll be against Longview, and then later that week, Friday, February 11th, against Mount Pleasant. Until then, check Front Porch News for all of our game recaps. Stay here on Chad's Media. We got plenty of other content, like the Tyler Lennon Show. This week's episode was with Ty Rollison. I know you'll want to check that out. It was a great episode. Grayson, I'm ready to be back. I'm ready to see how this final stretch of games goes.
Yeah, I am too. It'll be exciting.
Hopefully we'll see y'all then. Thank y'all for watching.